All right. Welcome, everybody. I'll show you around my boutique. This is downtown Mill Valley, California. And it's kind of a foggy day out there, but does it show? Anyway, all my work, my paintings, happy jewelry, and lots of gemstones and stuff that make me feel amazing and sparkly. Surround yourself with things that help you feel alive. So thank you for joining. This is something that I've been playing with for many, many years. And the last couple of years, I've had a private group on Facebook called Expand Space to Unwind. And there's over 300 people in it. And when we do the expanding exercises once a week, I notice the difference by having the group contribution. Like the energy is so much more tangible. And it's just really fun to play with. Part of the reason that I created it is because sitting in these access classes and listening to Gary Douglas over the years, he's talking about anytime we make anything significant, that we're creating a problem for ourselves to overcome. And when you expand a lie or when you expand an upset, 99% of the time, it dissipates when you expand. And I started putting two and two together and looking at the fact that we are infinite beings. And when we expand our being, it automatically expands all the lies, all the problems, all the everything. So all of it goes away. All the intensity in your body goes away when you expand and you're able to morph and change things faster and easier. And there's this joy that I perceive when I'm expanding my being, and I've wanted to do it more and more and more so that I had it all the time. And it seems like a lot of people will have an experience of this expanded joy, space, ease, but you'll only have it for a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, or if you're lucky, a day. So I created the group to start expanding together so that people would have a sense of building that muscle and taking that throughout their week. And recently, a number of people have been saying, you know what? This is great. It saved my ass this week. Or it's really contributing to creating ease in my life. It's just not necessarily enough. It almost seems like Monday is a month apart instead of a week apart. So I created a 21-day expanding separate private group that starts on Wednesday. That's in 2 days, wherever you are in the world. And we'll just do, 5 minutes every day to start our day. And it will be in a private Facebook group so that the recordings are there, and anytime you need to listen to it or re-listen to it, it'll be there. But, oh, hey, Kirk. Glad you could make it. So I was kind of hoping that some people who have played with this expanding thing could share a little bit of what they're receiving out of it. Shelley, have you been on some of those expanding exercises? I know that you're in that group.
Yes, I have. And for me, it's such a great reminder. I mean, even right now you're talking and I just set some reminders to expand like every 30 minutes. And I come back to them, when something's going on, I'll just come back. It doesn't have to be related to what you're specifically talking about. However, just the energy of expansion helps and contributes. So I think they're very helpful. They are a contribution and would love more.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny too, because like we can all do it on our own, but do we? So like even.
And you also bring a different twist than if I was doing it by myself. Like you, maybe I'll expand more because of things that you're saying and what you're being.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And that's the thing with any group thing, there's that contribution of all of us as beings that when we get together, and hopefully as the facilitator and tapping into all those energies, I can speak to whatever it is that that you need to hear, that also everybody else needs to hear, but you're the spark of inspiration for that. So I'm always grateful when people can come on live, and I do it regardless when nobody's on there. And it's still very different than facilitating myself by myself. It's kind of like, going to a group exercise class, you get more out of the workout because there's more energy because everybody is there energizing. So another thing that was really interesting that Gary would talk about is that he maintains 500,000 miles in all directions around his body at all times. And I heard that and I was like, wow, what would that be like? And it's something that I've strived for, but I notice that when I get stressed or I'm trying to figure something out, or, when you're late for something or you stub your toe, whatever it is, you contract back in. There's this automatic response to focusing and pulling your energy in that's opposite to what will create the most ease for ourselves. So this is sort of retraining the muscle to expand in those times when you need to. And what's coming to mind right now is this one time when I was on a horseback ride in Costa Rica with a bunch of people, and a tree cracked. You heard this huge crack, and this tree fell right across the path. And I'm not sure if it's because we were at a 7-day in Costa Rica or that Gary was there or whatever, but at that moment, instead of contracting, we all really expanded, and all of our horses stayed calm instead of freaking out and running off and, driving us behind them. And it was like the calmest situation in something that could have been a disaster. So using this every day, day in and day out, can create ease, but it also can create ease when crazy happens around you. And sometimes it can avert crazy stuff from happening. When you're expanded, your awareness is so much further out that you're aware of things before they show up in front of you. So if you're willing to have more awareness and have it be spacious and malleable, what would it be like to use those awarenesses to your advantage and avert any problems or accidents, or put yourself into a great situation instead of sending me a note you can't get on. Use it for you to put yourself in the right place at the right time instead of the opposite. So everything that doesn't allow this to be easy, to be an exploration, an adventure, and a happy possibility for you? Will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Cool. Does anybody have any questions about expanding? Has anybody tried it and it doesn't work, or you don't know what the heck I'm talking about?
I have a question. Can you just
Yeah.
repeat what you? I heard you, but I didn't hear you when you said Gary keeps how much space around him?
Well, and this was a number of years ago. He said 500,000 miles in all directions.
Okay, thank you. I heard 5 something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And like when I first came upon Access Consciousness 16 years ago, I was like in this spiritual thing. I did meditation, and everything was about leaving the body, basically. And I sort of bought into this idea that our soul was this little tiny pea within us, and we could leave our bodies and still the body and have this experience. But every time you come back into your body, like all the stuff of the world was just so loud and disturbing. And when I started applying these tools to the meditation practice and expanding my being outside of my body so that my body was inside of me, it created such a peace and space that I didn't need to sit for an hour and close my eyes and withdraw all my energy to have that piece of meditation. So I could be this walking, talking meditation in the world. So it was a really cool opposite dynamic. Somebody has a question. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. It's like really tiny.
Oh, it's
text.
okay. I'm just waiting for you to finish. I'm just enjoying listening to you. So.
Oh, cool.
Being just present with you. So it's cool. No worries. Keep going.
Well, what's your question?
Well, I've noticed like there was one experience that came up recently where I was in a Costco working at a booth with a group of people, and we were promoting a product, and I could sense some contraction, and so I just asked for my barriers to drop, to go down and expand it out. But I noticed like I was still experiencing like tension in the right side of my neck area, and I was like, kind of like, is there a way to, I was aware that it actually wasn't mine, but I was aware of another body. Mm-hmm. And so I guess my question is like, is there a way to like how much space do we have to be, or like so that we're not aware of that? Or I guess I'm sorry, I'm not really. No, I guess I just don't want to be at the effect of things like that. Like, right. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I think a lot of times, like when you start to lower your barriers and you start to get that you are perceiving other people's bodies and other things, there's a tendency to like, okay, we'll try expanding, and you'll expand and you'll have more awareness, and then you'll go, and you want to bring it all back in because it's like too much. But can an infinite being be overwhelmed?
No. But hey, Shalem.
So you have to continue expanding. And one of the questions that Gary would say is, how far outside of your body would you have to go, or would you have to be for this to not be intense? So it's like anywhere that we've decided that, okay, I'm expanded, but like I'm this far, I'm expanded. Hawk and pod and keep going, because we're infinite. And we're just like, we're habituated towards reversing our capacity to be an infinite being and to contract. It's just a habituated implant that hopefully through the classes, through the questions, through practicing things like this in this group will start to override and change it so that it can be ease. I know that it has for me over the years. It's become much more ease.
Thank
Does that
you.
help?
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Neelam Prima, I think is your name. Hey, is there a way for you to mute yourself? Because it keeps cutting in and out, and then your picture shows. And
I
it's
can mute her.
Thanks, Julie. Sorry, it was...
No,
okay.
no worries.
Okay, cool.
Did
I
it.
like this.
You made it. Cool, awesome. Okay, so somebody else has a question. Rebecca, can you talk or no? Yay. I can't hear you, sweetheart. Are you muted? I can't hear you.
I know why. I'm using an old earpiece and I can hear but not speak through it. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
Can you hear me now? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Yes? Oh, but I can't hear you. Oh, this is awesome. I'll ask my question and hopefully I'll get the reply later. So This is related, I hope. When you were talking about expanding out and your body is in your, energy field, it brought to mind when I was at the Double D Ranch and I was trying to commune with the horses. And I was using my head, my thoughts. And I said to the horse, whose back was towards me, in communion with you. And the horse stopped eating or pacing. I tried it with two horses and they turned around and they came towards me. And I was like, expecting them to come right up to me. But they actually, each of them went to the side of me about 2 arms lengths away. And so what I got was maybe my being is there. So I do know that I don't have to necessarily be with my body, but my body is in my field. But how could I make that be the center so they would come to me next time?
Well, that's an interesting question, but I wonder if we cleared any decisions about what that means. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, all nine shorts, boys, meons. How close did you want them to be?
I thought they would come up to me, to my physical body and say hi.
How close were you willing to have them come to your physical body?
I just got a lot of energy coming through. Maybe that's the question I should be asking. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're really aware. And it's interesting, we can think one thing or ask or say one thing, but energetically, if it's not congruent, they will respond to the energy. I remember being at one of the ranches in Texas, not Gary's, but his friends, and the guy who owned the ranch was saying that you can't get a horse to walk up to you. And I just stood there and pulled energy, and this horse came right up to my nose. And he was like, how did you do that? I don't know. I just pulled. And he was saying, you can't do that. You can't walk straight up to a horse. You have to come from the side. And he was all in how you're supposed to do things. But energy speaks louder than words. And the energy that we be can be, yes, I want you to come up, but don't come too close.
Okay.
And that's
thank you for that. And I'm sorry if that was a little sidetrack, but thank you.
No worries. Yeah. Does anybody else have a question?
Yes, Kirk does.
Yay.
Yay. It's more of a statement of the tools of expansion. I just sat in front of a judge for 5 minutes. And before I walked into the courtroom, I expanded. And I lifted the energy off of all the people that were contracted and wrong, making themselves wrong. And the whole room was filled with this toxic wrongness, but I wasn't. And I just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the judge looked at me and smiled and said, hello. And she said my full name and smiled again. And she asked me a question and I answered. And she says, thank you very much. You can go. And I left huge with all that toxic energy still in the room. Just so fucking fun. It's so fun to use these tools everywhere. So that's my contribution from getting an Uber. Welcome to everyone. So fucking fun.
What do you mean, like you lifted it off of them just by getting bigger?
I'll have to correct. I didn't lift it off them. Before I walked in, I could perceive the energy of contraction and wrongness inside the hallways and inside the courtroom of all the people sitting and heads down and crumpled bodies, but that wasn't me. And I could have walked in and went, fuck, what's wrong? What did I do? This is horrible. But I got bigger and bigger and aware that that wasn't mine. And I asked the question before I grabbed the handle, who does this belong to?
Yeah.
Just so simple and so poignant.
I love that.
That's so bright. Thank you.
Yay. So there's a great example. How to use the tools for you. Ah, goodness. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up, ask? If not, we can do an exercise together.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yay. So I always like to take a moment and just check in with my body, scan it head to toe. So scan your body head to toe, see if there's any discomfort. How's the body doing today? And lower any barriers you have to your body, anything that your body's been talking to you, whispering, shouting. Lower the barriers so that you can receive it. Cool. And start to become aware of the air just around your skin. And now expand out to fill the room that you're in, all the way up to the ceiling, down to the floor, in front of you, behind you, to your left, to your right. And from this space, check in with your body and see, has anything changed? Is it any more relaxed? And now let's go beyond the walls, beyond the ceiling, beyond the floors. And we'll just ask to go 10 miles in all directions. You don't have to measure. You don't have to try. You can just ask, and then it's like, so down into the earth, up into the sky, all around, creating a bubble around your body. And at this point, do you sense anything different? Is there a stillness? Is your mind quiet? How much farther would you like to go? Let's go 100 miles, 500 miles, 1,000 miles in all directions. Pulling energy from the earth through the space of you, through your body, up and out the top of your head, and through the rest of the space of you. And then reaching further, 1,000 miles, 5,000, 10,000. 100,000. 500,000. This space is the space that I like to create things from. I like to run bars from this space. And walk through the woods. And create my business. This space is something that many people will not even comprehend. It's not something that you can get with your mind, but you can sense it and you can know it. But most of all, you're being it. And when you be it, you change everything around you. So what do you perceive with this space? And just let that question go out and come back to you in different awarenesses. There's no conclusion, there's no answer necessary. It's just enjoying this space. What can we create together? What can we contribute to each other? What can we be for the planet? And from this space, what is living life from ease, joy, and glory really like? Universe, show us. Show us ease, joy, and glory. So there's no need to contract back down. You can be this all the time. It just takes building the muscle and doing it together. As I said earlier, it just really helps to perceive it. You can re-listen to this video whenever you need to create this space for yourself. And if you would like to come on the 21-day journey, I would love to have you. And if not, there's still the free group that I do once a week. So whatever will create more for you. And I thank you so much for joining today. All right. Have an awesome week, guys.
Thank
And
you.
I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Julie.